Hey guys, it's Sonia. Hopefully this is working okay. It's our very first YouTube live stream of 2020 here on our business chat channel. And you know what? I forgot that when you first start a channel, so this is something for you guys to learn as well. And let me tell you, business is learning as you go. Is I have my phone set up to go live, and then I realized when I pushed to go live that when you first start a YouTube channel, it's almost like you have to earn the right. You have to earn the trust of YouTube for them to allow you to go live from your phone. So it was like, sorry, Sonia, this streaming, you can't have access to go live from your phone. So I had to run and grab my laptop. So who's here with me this morning? Sharon and Valerie, Belinda, Lisa. Good morning, girls. How are you? I'm going to tell you, I set my alarm. One of my goals for this year was to get up earlier because I'm the late night owl and I push late. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to try to take it back in 2020 because you know how like you start to do stuff and before you know, you slip. Before you know, you're staying up way too late. You're starting Netflix shows way too late or you're working late. You know, for me, I can work up to 11, 12 at night easily when you do what you love, right? It doesn't feel like work sometimes. And what happens is you develop bad habits. And before you know it, you're staying up way too late. So this morning I got up before the sun came up and I'm drinking coffee, easing into the day. And I definitely know that, and you probably know too, that anything you want to get good at or have success at, it's all the habits that you do, right? It's the sum of all the efforts that you do that add up to the thing, right? And it's like, how do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time. And right now, 2020, I thought it would be so fun to do this group because we have 365 days ahead of us. Well, minus a few, because this is January the 3rd at this point. But let's hang out here together and do business together this year, chat business, and just kind of like start our mornings off. So it is so good. Jan says, good morning. I am only awake to shove my kids on the bus. Oh my gosh. Hey, listen, we're doing mornings together here. I feel your pain, sister. I feel your pain. Today is going to be a great day, right? We're up, ready to take on the day. So I figured I'd talk today about a question that I got the very first day when I first posted the first video. And that was from Michelle on here. And she said that she needed help picking a business name, like how to do it, right? Like how to wrap your brain around that. And so who right now, leave me a yes in the comments below. Do you have a business name? Do you like your business name? Do you not like your business name? Are you trying to pick a business name? Where are you right now when it comes to, are you scared to pick a business name? One of the most scariest things, like, you know, you think about things that happen to you in business and you think back. One of the most scariest things when I first started my business was putting a sign on my storefront. And because now my name was on a building, and do you know how scary that was? I mean, it took a crane to lift it up. The building was big, so the sign had to be big, so it was in proportion to the building. And yeah, and it was so scary because you're like, okay, all right, well, I can't hide now because my name's on a building, right? My name's attached to something. I actually started my business with my name in my business name, so quite literally, I couldn't even hide behind a generic sort of name because my name was on there. And so if Sonia fails, then it felt like, okay, everybody's going to see this, right? So it really feels like you're very vulnerable when you create a business and you put it out there, right? But remember, you don't know unless you try. And I am so glad that I took all the steps that I did because that's where you grow when you put yourself outside of your comfort zone, right? So for some of you guys, you might not have picked your business name yet. And regardless if you know it or not, it might be, because I know the feelings, that you might be holding yourself back and kind of like, I can't get the right name just yet. But you're probably, just keeping yourself at a slower pace because you're not ready to go. Because if you don't have the baby name just yet, you know what I mean? Then you don't have to feel like you have to go. And honestly, business is your baby. I talked about that yesterday. And so it's the same sort of thing. You got to name your baby, right? And then it's so much easier to, I don't know, it brings it to life. Now you're actually doing it, right? It's here. You're doing it. It's real. It's the real deal. But picking a business name should not be something that holds you back. Don't self-sabotage yourself. And think to yourself, oh my gosh, I can't do this yet until I get the right business name. Because my very first thing I'm going to tell you is that you can change it, because that name that I told you that went on my building when I first started my business is not the same as it is now. I started my business as Sonia's Shabby Chic because I'm Sonia and I love shabby chic. And when I look back to that name and remembering, like when I first got my first business cards, I ordered them from Vistaprint and I was so excited. And, I spent all the time on the design of this and getting the name. And I look back now and I'm thinking I could have definitely done better with the name. And I also realized that it's not done from business cards. Business is done from showing up in your business. And no matter at the end of the day, I'm going to shut off my notifications here because my laptop likes to talk. At the end of the day, no matter what, this is the truth, no matter what your business name is, your marketing is what is going to make or break you, right? Because you can sit here forever, take the entire year to come up with a business name, but at the end of the day, if you don't get out there and show and tell people and explain to people and demonstrate to people what you have, your service, your product, or your solution, it's not going to make a difference, right? Because nobody's going to know about you. You could have the greatest product in the world. It could be made with gold, but if you don't take the time to market your business, it's not going to mean a hill of beans because nobody's going to know about you. Nobody's going to find you, right? So when you think about your business name, honestly, it should be a process where you go and you set a deadline for yourself and you say, this is the week. By the end of the week, by the end of the weekend, I am going to go ahead. I'm going to sit down with a piece of paper and I'm going to scribble out potential names after I heard this chat here. I'm going to give you my best guidelines, like things to avoid, things that work well, and the steps that you should go through to kind of just pick a business name. But at the end of the day, know that you're not married to it, right? It doesn't have to stay with you forever. So mine didn't. I'm case in point. Now, is it easier to follow and take other advice so that when you pick a business name? I just picked it out of I didn't have anybody to ask and go, what are some guidelines, right? I didn't even realize that I should actually take some time to think about what I'm going to call my business. But at the same time, you can change it. And so it's progress over perfection in business. And you can tweak your name if you want to tweak your name down the road. But the very fact that you're thinking about your business name is important, because when I say that about being married to it and thinking about it down the road, your business is going to evolve. Any good business is going to evolve. I mean, think about, even how Amazon got started and where it started. If you think about how many businesses are out there, do you know a business right now that started as a name that it doesn't operate under the same name right now? Because it's so natural for businesses to evolve. Any good business does, to adjust to the marketplace, to growth. You grow as a person, right? And so your business grows, you grow, you evolve. And so business names change as well, right? Now, one of my very first things I'm going to tell you that I wrote down here on my notes when I sat down and did a brain dump, because there are things out there that exist. Did you know that there's business name generators out there? Literally, if you went to Google and you typed in business name generator, now I don't recommend it because it will come up with stuff like the weirdest stuff. It's kind of like when you try to generate an email address and you don't come up with it yourself, and there could be the weirdest things into it, and you're like, hey, that has no meaning to me. If you can find a business name that embraces something that you love, something that's meaningful, that's always a good thing, right? When you look at Junk Monkey Paint Company, Junk Monkey, well, for me and Matt, we've always loved sock monkeys. So the monkey has always been something. I've given Matt sock monkeys. He's done the same. And we love, that's just something that we've always thought were awesome little things, sock monkeys. And when we developed the name, we also thought about Grease Monkey, which is in the world of mechanics. Well, when you think about somebody who's a grease monkey, they work under the hoods of cars. They tinker with old machines and cars, and they bring them back to life. Well, what's a junk monkey? A junk monkey is somebody who tinkers with junk. Tinker with junk every single day to bring it back to life, right? And so that made sense for us, right? So if you can find a name that, maybe there's something that you love that's just part of you. And so when you make your business stand out, it's because it embraces part of you and you love on your business. It's that baby and it just feels right. But keeping it simple is so important. You don't want a ton of words. And honestly, you're going to want just a couple words. And so you often hear me say, hey, junkmonkeypaint.com, right? because I left even the company part off of it because it rolls off my tongue. It would roll off somebody else's tongue a whole lot easier. Creating business names that seem so complicated goes against everything in business, because business should be simple. Keep it simple for your customers. A confused mind doesn't buy. A confused mind's not even going to remember your business name, right? And so, have you ever even like named a pet before? I mean, I think of Stanley, and I know what Stanley's name was going to be, like what the suggestions were when my son got that cat. And I'm like, what's a good name, bud? You know, and he's coming out with names. And one of the first things I did was like say it out loud. You know what I mean? Like, does it roll off your tongue, or do you have a hard time saying it? If I had to call my cat and it was really a weird name to say out loud, then, and I just couldn't see myself, you know, hollering that out and saying that and yelling out the back door. It doesn't ring. It doesn't feel right. It probably isn't. So keeping it very, very simple, not overthinking it, and, you know, keep it very, very simple. So don't get too crazy with your words. Remember that you have a plan to grow. And even when I say not to get too crazy with your words, keep it simple. Just a couple words is all you need. But I wouldn't put anything that's hard to spell, like even Sonia's Shabby Chic, okay? My name's Sonia, spelled with an I, so that's a little bit unusual, right? Shabby chic. Do you know how many people would come into my store and go, I figured I saw your sign, shabby chick. So I'm thinking, the shabby chick, I'm not the shabby chick, right? And you know, people would say that to you, and you just like in your mind go, well, I'm not going to actually correct them. But if they had to go looking for me, how do you think they would even spell it, right? The other thing is, shabby chic is actually, I'm Sonia, and I love shabby chic, but shabby chic is a particular form of design, right? And so what I didn't realize is that I was really pigeonholing myself in that in my business, that I would only be known as Sonia's Shabby Chic. Well, you guys know that I went on to paint cabinets. They weren't always shabby chic, right? And, you know, when I first started, I would do custom furniture for people. It wasn't always shabby chic. I did whatever my customer asked me because I was growing my business and developing my style and really, you know, getting the word out there of all the services that I offered. And so when you think about the name that you're picking, never do a business name that's going to pigeonhole yourself into something. So for example, right now, you know, shabby chic was when I started my business, was a very hot trend, right? And now the last couple of years, what's it been? Not shabby chic, it's been farmhouse. But now we know in the last year that we've gone to that phase of farmhouse, and you know, now we hear in the trends that people want color again, right? And so, and farmhouse is not necessarily the hot trending word anymore. Have you been on a group where people are like, I'm so over farmhouse? You know, last year I painted everything, and a year before I painted everything in neutrals, and now I'm ready to put some color into my life. It's because when it comes to styles and things like that, it's cyclical, right? Like the things that we wore back in school are now coming back in, whether for a period of time you weren't going to be seen with a scrunchie in your hair or neon socks or anything like that. But now the scrunchie is back, right? You see what I'm saying? But for a period of time, it wasn't cool to wear a scrunchie. And so when you think about a business name, try not to pigeonhole yourself into a trend or something like that. And that's why I say always bring it back to you and keep it simple. Maybe when I think about if I wanted to use my name in my business, maybe I would have been better off of calling it like Sonia's, I don't know, Sonia's Creations or Sonia's Designs, even staying away from words that include things like handmade, because the whole goal of having a business is to grow it, right? When I started my business, I wasn't even going to know that I would introduce and create with Matt the Junk Monkey paint brand, right? But that's evolution. That's the labor of love that you do in your business. And when you show up every single day, and we talked about at the beginning when I started, the sum of efforts, repeat it day in, day out, it creates something, right? You build something. And so you never know sometimes when you start, you kind of have a general idea. That is totally normal in business when you start out and you have no idea where you're going to go. That's actually really good, because if I knew what I was doing day one in business, if I knew that when I started day one in business, what I would be doing right now, like what I'm doing with you guys right now, I wouldn't have been ready, right? I had to walk through all the stuff, all the experiences. I had to grow my business, get in the trenches, and figure all this stuff out in order to be able to come here today and tell you, don't make the same mistakes that I did, right? Or, maybe right now you're like, oh my gosh, Sonia, I can't imagine speaking live in front of people. That's one of the biggest fears is public speaking. We know that, right? But you know what? Who's to say that when you practice this year, maybe you do something, you're like, I really like this. I'm leaving this behind in 2020 and I'm gravitating more towards this because I think I really like this. Don't underestimate yourself or your business, because you might think that you're just, a little tiny business right now. And that's how you start. That's how we all start, with one follower, one subscriber. Who knows where we'll end up with 2020, right? Don't underestimate yourself, and know that when you're picking a business name, you're going to grow. Because if you do this every single day, now, if you were in my paid business coaching the last couple of years, you will know that my personal motto in business is to always do 2 things every single day that move my business forward. And we'll talk more about that as well. Today, I just want to center on the beginnings, not sabotaging yourself. Get a business name, do it. Know that you're not stuck with it. Yes, you can change it. You want to get it as close to something that's going to work for you, but know that you are going to evolve and your business is going to evolve as well. All right. So no hard to spell, no hard to say. It's going to be, even like when it comes to, spelling weird stuff, like, how taking on a different name and spelling it with a Q, or, that's just not how people would naturally search for you. You got to think about that, right? Remember yesterday or the day before I was saying business is not about you, it's about your customers. So you've got to make it easy for people to find you and to do business with you, because when we live at a time when there are so many businesses out there, you need people to be able to find you. So make it easy for them, right? Think about them. You don't want to have it long, sounded out. You don't want to be able to, for them to like mumble jumble it or not be able to get their words. If you were in a sentence, if you were in an elevator with somebody and you had to really quick rattle off the name of your business, could you say it really quick? Could you say it in a sentence really, really quick, right? And would the people that you're talking to even remember it? Now, if you can incorporate something that your business does overall, that's a really good thing, okay? So like I said in the beginning, instead of going shabby chic and pigeonholing myself, because Sonia creates, right? Sonia creates every single day of her life. And so even when you're starting and you're not knowing exactly where it's going to go, if you can do something overall, and maybe you just go off your name and you start with your name overall, right? That's a really big thing that we're seeing the last couple of years, that a lot of businesses are branding themselves, meaning they're using their name. Well, your name is definitely unique, right? And if I brand it myself, like my channel, right, is Grow with Sonia Miller. My other channel is Sonia Miller. So when I created my YouTube channel over there, it's because, you know what? Sonia Miller can do anything she wants on that channel, right? And so that's what you want to think about in business, that you're going to evolve, you're going to grow, but if you can do something that's going to encompass, all right, regardless of what I do, whether you show up today and I always say doing mosaics or baking, that's all creating, right? So come up with names like, Sonia, for example, not even using your name, but words like, or business names that incorporate designs, creations. That's pretty big. You never want to get to anything like really, really specific. Because if I started my business and changed my name to Sonia's Cabinetry, well, Sonia don't do cabinetry anymore. That would be very misleading, right? So, but at the end of the day, I could have did Sonia Paints, because Sonia always paints every single day. She doesn't always paint shabby chic, especially in the beginning, right? So you see what I'm saying? Find a name, take a piece of paper, and write down a bunch of combinations. Just grab a pen and paper and start writing down who's you, right? And this is how you make the personal connection. So, think about the things that you love and start writing them down. Write your name down. Write the things that you love down. How would you describe what you do? Write that all down, and then start kind of like just putting the names together, but keeping it as simple as possible, as concise as possible. And then you can run it by somebody, your spouse. If you start every single day writing a bunch of names, have you ever heard of people who you can't figure out what color to paint? So you know what? You take a piece of board and you paint a color sample, and you give yourself a bunch of color samples and you pin them on the wall. And every morning you come in and you just go ahead and you use your gut and you go, oh gosh, I do not like to look at that this morning. Nope, taking that one off. All right. Eventually you eliminate it down to something, right? But get started, because sometimes your name can hold you back because you're using it to hold you back, right? And it's just a mental thing. and then move forward from there. Now, when it comes to creating a business, because we said there's many businesses that have come before us that will go on. There's business names right now that somebody is going ahead and they're locking it in, all right? And so there's no time to do it, but now make it yours and start building right now today. There's a saying that says the best time to plant a tree. When is the best time to plant a tree? Well, if you haven't already planted one, then you got to do it today. Plant the seed today, right? The best time to grow a tree, to plant a seed is today if you haven't already done it, all right? So I've been thinking about doing this channel for a long time, but I planted the seed 3 days ago, all right? Now we are blooming and we're growing this community together and just walking this year together side by side. Every morning at 8 a.m., by the way. Sometimes live, sometimes I might record something and pop it up. So you always have a daily dose of just inspiration, motivation, and business chat, right? Know that you're not the only one out there, and that every single morning, like today, I'm pushing myself to get up before the sun comes out, which is hard for me. That's out of my comfort zone. But I know at the end of the day, like I said, it's just a personal goal I have set for myself. But you always want to check to make sure that that business name is available. So there are easy ways, because hello, we live in the world of the internet. Now it's easier than ever. Type in that business name that you have in your mind. Sometimes we think we're the only people that think of it, but what it comes down to is somebody else also had that great idea. So you got to test it out. You got to go online and you got to type it in and see if anybody else is existing underneath that name right now, right? You can also check the web domain, because one of the things I'm going to help coach you on this year is how to take your business online and how to do that, the steps, what you should be doing, what you should be focusing on, how to set up a website, what should be on your website, how to figure out, what the heck you even put on it, all that sort of stuff. And so type in and see if there's already a business domain, because you're going to want a business domain that actually is going to make sense with your business name, okay? The other side of that is legal. Orange don't look good on you, girl. Orange don't look good on you, girl. You don't ever want to be sued because you're using somebody else's name, right? You're setting up your business to make your life easier. Last thing you want to do is get into a legal financial pickle with somebody who says, oh no, I already did the proper legal filings and I own that name. That's a trademark name. That's, a copywritten, that's copywritten what you're using. So make sure you check. There's search databases that you can check, okay? And so, for example, my business name has been copywritten and trademarked, my logo. And when you start out in business and now, things are rocking and rolling, always take time to invest back into your business. And so that's what we did, is that we were like, wow, this is really taken off. We are committed to this. And we went and we did the steps to get it copywritten and trademarked, because this is it. This is what we do every day, right? So you got to make sure that you protect what you're working hard for, but you got to make sure that you're not stepping on the boundaries of somebody else who has already done that work and they filed. So you're going to want to definitely Google the U.S. Patent and Copyright, U.S. Trademark and Patent Office, as well as the U.S. Copyright Office, or wherever this video is reaching you. You're going to want to check in your country and your state. State, federal, all that good stuff, to make sure that somebody else has not claimed that already. And that's why the best time to plant a tree is now, right? Because like I say, you think you're the only one that has that idea. I definitely learned that in retail, that you think you're the only person. Well, look at this community, right? And even with what I do and what I love myself, I found a lot of like-minded, awesome individuals that are just like me. We're peas in a pod, right? So you think you're the only person that comes up with this name, this idea, but really, you know what? There's a lot of us that, that we find that there's a lot of other people just like us. And that's why I always say in retail, if you've ever operated a store, this, that you can paint something and somebody will come in and a bunch of people can fall in love with the very same piece. And when you come today to look at it, somebody's already been there yesterday. They slept on it last night. And you know what? When you were coming back to think about it, they already thought about it and now they're here to get it, and you're going to come back and you snooze, you lose, you're going to lose out, right? So if you take your business seriously as you grow and you test and you market, and we're going to talk about that, how to test a product and see what you're doing, if it even is going to, if it has legs, right? If it's going to grow, if it's going to mature. And so we'll talk about all those things, but your business name should not be something that holds you back in business. You can change it. Just keep it simple and make it simple for your audience. That's the very biggest thing. And I think those are pretty much honestly, the thoughts that I'm going to leave you with this morning. It doesn't have to be hard. It's often the most simplest thing that's right in front of you. So grab a pen, grab a paper, and this weekend start making it happen, right? Lisa Ann says, I too have my domain name purchased on my website. Good for you. Angela says, so excited for online conversations. I do have my domain name, need to work on my online presence. Yes, that is going to be so important. Online is so important. I'm going to teach you this year all the days to follow, just all different parts of business, right? And if you just honestly, knowledge is power. So even when you're not ready, like start a notebook. And for me, I have a whiteboard. It just leans up. I went to Walmart and got one. And maybe this can be an action step as well for you today. If you don't have your business name, your homework today is honestly to go get a fresh new pad of paper. And on the very first page, I want you to just start scribbling down, just kind of do just a brain dump, a mind dump of words that might have meaning to you, something that's special to you, and then start thinking about the words of the things that you do and what it generally encompasses. And then start playing with combinations and just kind of go from there and get some feedback on it, right? And pick one and do it. Oh, Valerie, that's a good question. I love that. Valerie says, how do you secure your domain name? So I'll do a whole chat on that. But there are many services where you can go and you can actually, you can buy or rent a domain name. I'll get into that for you on another day. Do you have your name yet, Valerie? But yes, I need you guys to let me know what you want me to talk to you about, because that way I can do these nice chats. So for example, grab a whiteboard, grab a nice notepad, something that brings you joy to pick up and every single day write in for your business. Focus on it. Do you know if you write it down, there's a bigger chance that it's actually going to happen? You know that, right? Statistics show that if you take it out of your head and you put it on paper, there's a greater chance that your goal that you're setting for yourself on paper is going to happen. So if your goal this year is to have a business, start writing stuff down. It just only makes sense, right? What was I going to say here? I started to say something. Maybe it'll come back to me in a second. So Lisa says, Lisa Stevens, creating an upcycled life. So that means that Lisa creates, and she also does, so when I hear that, I think about, okay, Lisa's into upcycling, repurposing. She's probably a junker, a thrifter, a picker, a treasure hunter like me, right? So that gives you a lot of things to create within. So yes, that's a very nice, check to make sure it's not taken. And remember that when you pick your business name, it's not like everything, right? It's not everything. When we talk about marketing, things like when people come to your I know what I was going to say. People come to your online space, your thumbnail, your header, all those sorts of things all make the impression. It takes 7 seconds to make an impression, and it might be even sooner now, okay? Because everything in our society, everything is quicker. Everybody does it now, wants it now, give it to me now. You know what I mean? They want to know now. They want to ingest it now. They want it to arrive on their doorstep now. So it's very, very quickly that people make impressions of you, right? So get your name down. Don't pigeonhole yourself. Keep it simple. Know that marketing is actually the key. And like I said, things that, when you're creating your presence, it's if somebody came to your website right now, what are they going to be able to tell immediately about what you do right now, right? Pictures speak 1,000 words. And so when you market and you put a picture with those words, that's when things really start coming to life. The thing I was going to say was, oh my gosh, Vintage Forest Finds. I love that name. Vintage Forest Finds says, never gave up on the scrunchie. I love it. I love it. Who else had the banana comb? Do you remember the banana comb? Oh yeah. There's no feeling like pulling that banana comb up over the top of your head. But you know what? After a while, it really started to pull. Who else knows the pain at the top of their head, right? So maybe we should wait for the banana comb to come back. I could get around the banana comb. All right. Anybody else? So I was starting to say that's the point that I wanted to say about online and about growing the online presence that somebody mentioned right here. Oh yeah, we were talking about getting the domain name and getting started on a website and being online. There's so many stores that are hurting because they have not embraced the fact that right now That is where people shop from their phone, right? You're going to have your phone in your hand, chances are, a good portion of the day. A good portion of people are even buying stuff like toilet paper and paper towels online. They don't even go to the store anymore, or very, very, there's less time to go to the store. There's more time spent in bed being on the phone and scrolling and buying stuff on Amazon. And then when you go to work over the next day or two, and Amazon is like, boom, they're even doing things like millions of items shipped now within 24 hours. It's going to arrive at your door. And so now more and more things are arriving right now. People are buying online. Things are being set up where they can do one-click pay, right? It's simple. And so we got to make it very easy for people to be able to do business with us. That's funny, Melissa. And I'm guessing if this showed up right, that your name is Wildflower Paint and Vinyl. So that tells me exactly what you do, friend. And I don't know, maybe you only do vinyl. I mean, that's if I look at that name, Wildflower Paint and Vinyl, it's not just vinyl t-shirts, right? That could be so many different things. You could do so much decor. It's very open, right? But it tells me specifically what you do. So that's really good. When you hear my name, Drunk Monkey Paint Company, okay, well, there's probably going to be something that involves paint. It's a giveaway, right? You go to Jim's Auto Body, Jim fixes more than just, Jim's muffler shop, right? So Jim didn't pigeonhole himself into just mufflers because he's auto body, right? So think bigger, think global, because it gives you a bubble to move in. And the more that bubble is small, then you're going to feel like, oh, it doesn't really fit what I started off with doing. I transitioned into something else. People are going to find you and go, you don't even do that anymore. It gets confusing. So you got to make it simple. Linda still has a bunch of banana combs. I'm telling you, I love the banana comb. What? Deidre, the banana comb is back? Yeah, I got to go look that up. Oh, I like that, Jay. That's a very good name. Yes, absolutely. So if I hear a name, Jay's listing his name here. Jay, or it could be a guy or a girl, Jay. And I don't see your profile pic. You'll have to put one in there. So it says Coachman, or it could be Couchman, right? Depending, probably Couchman House, Antiques and Uniques. So if I saw a store that said Antiques and Uniques, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's my vibe, right? Because that's all encompassing. If I saw something that just said painted furniture, then I would not expect to find stuff that's on painted there, that's antiques, things that might have been collected and thrifted and found at auctions. It's just a different sort of audience. So you got to think about, the people that you want to come in. What are they into, right? So good things to think about. So Kim says, I have a name for my art business, but I would like also to sell vintage online. Would you recommend 2 different names, 2 different shops? I'm going to be completely honest with you that business, it takes a lot to run one business, right? Okay, this is the honest to goodness truth. And what I've learned is that simplifying your business, simplifying your life is where it's at. So if you're doing 2 different things, is there a way, do they connect that you can put them together? All right. Sonia likes to paint canvas. Sonia likes to paint furniture. Sonia likes to paint thrift finds. The paint is what brings it all together, right? And there's not different sections for different people. All right. It's going to be easier for you. Think about all the balls. The more balls that you put in the air, the harder it takes to keep them all going, right? And so for your sanity, if there's a way to link them, that's going to be the best thing. So instead of having 2 audiences in 2 different places, if you can bring them together, right? Especially when you're first starting as well. For me doing this is a passion project that I love to do because I love helping other people in business. And I just think there's so much potential out there, and it's easy to get frustrated and feel like you have no space when really you do. And it's absolutely life-changing when you actually work at your business and you get strategic and you have somebody to guide you and help you. Just absolutely life-changing. 2020 you can end 2020 completely different than how you started it, right? But simplify, especially when you're getting started. Ever hear of the whole thing about when you have a cord and you have multiple strands, it's stronger when you put it together, right? So you can eventually carve out your audience, but I would definitely start with keeping it very, very simple. There's a theme, keeping it simple, and also in you, okay? So it's going to be harder for you if you're doing two different businesses that really don't match up together. That's why I say, do they interlink? It's going to be easier for you, because if you're giving your energy to two different places, it's hard, right? It's like having two people sitting on either side of you to keep going. So is there a natural fit? If you can put them together in the same space, if you can talk about them together in the same space, it's going to be a whole lot easier. Yeah, we live in a world where there's tons of, people starting Facebook groups and all those places. It's easier to keep community in one place than trying to have it everywhere. It's stronger together. It's less to manage, less notifications, less emails over here, emails over there. And, if you can show up in one place, because, it's like I said, it's hard and it takes a lot of energy. So if you can show up in one place, it's going to be a whole lot easier setting yourself up for success versus pulling yourself further like Laffy Taffy, right? So see if there's a way to combine. Thank you. Teacher says, hit that like button, people, please. Thank you. Brady says, so is creations too overall? No, I don't think so. Not at all. That just means that when I hear that you create, that you're a creator, and when I see your page, then you bring it to life with the content that you produce, that the content that you share with people. And I'm going to talk to you about things like honestly, what you focus on grows. So if there's a part of your creation business that you want to grow, that's what you're going to want to show on your page. All right. So if you have a creations page and every day you're posting a gamut of things. Ever go on to Pinterest and you feel like there's a million gazillion things and it gets overwhelming? So you definitely are going to want to zone in, right? Give yourself the umbrella and then allow yourself freedom to dance underneath the umbrella in the rain. Okay. So yeah, just keep your bubble big, and then you can really niche down and really identify to people what it is that you do within it. Hi, Linda. Libby says, can you change after you secure? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know. There's very few things in life that is absolutely permanent. So if that's what you need to tell yourself so you feel better, can you change it? Yes. Obviously, you never want to go into making decisions going, I'm going to change it. Just pick something that you like and move on, right? Because it's the getting started that is so important. And after you can adapt it, you can change it, you can do all the things. But yeah, the most important is to keep it simple and then make sure, like I said, that it's not already in use and owned by somebody, and give yourself freedom to flex your feathers, to shake your tail feather. Emily says, I don't have a business, but I'd like to have one in the future. Yeah. So we'll talk about, how to even figure out, do you have something right now that could be a profitable business? Yeah, let's do that. You know what? How about we talk about that even tomorrow? Because that's something as we get going here about laying the roots and even just re-examining if you have a business right now, like where you are, if there's things that you can tighten up in your business and to really get focused, right? Because yeah, it's hard to run a race if you don't know where the finish line is or, where exactly what direction you're running. If I'm trying to get to California and I'm over here on the East Coast, just getting in my car and driving in circles, it's going to be a long time getting over there, right? So that's why I say, even if you have a general idea of where you want to go, get started. And then along the way, you can take the scenic, detours, and you can do this here and you can spend a few days here, doing this or doing that, or times in your business where you're doing, like me, cabinets, and times in your business where you're not, times when you're doing custom painted furniture, times when you're not. But at the end of the day, you have the final destination. So why don't we talk a little bit more about finding your focus and just, setting up your business and identifying for yourself, do you have a business that could rocket this year? All right, friends. Oh, look, Freddie purchased her domain now to figure out the website. Woohoo, I'm so excited. Good morning, Nancy. That's very nice. Yes, and Brandy brings up a good point. She says that she's like the name Rustic Roots. I love that. So that tells me, Brandy, that regardless of what you're doing, that you love the vibe, that you're somebody that gravitates to the rustic, the distressed, the old, the vintage, just the You know what I'm saying? Just the time worn. When I hear rustic roots, right? That's so big. That's a great name. And then she says, I can use the tag name handmade, vintage, refinished. Yes, because you're not locking in the handmade, vintage, refinished, right? That could be stuff that you talk about maybe down the road. I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing, like when you use words like handmade, I'm just being honest, that, you know what, who are you going to do handmade for the rest of your life, right? But a tag is easier to change. So if down the road you're no longer doing the handmade, like me, I started off literally not even knowing I was going to sell paint, because I would do handmade paint mixtures with my husband to get a paint brand, in terms of me, a mixture, a blend that I liked. And I started doing handmade. And then what I didn't realize is the demand would get so big that we would become like walking zombies and no longer be able to maintain handmade because the demand got so big. And that's why I say, when you look at your business, you're like, oh, I'm never going to go that big. I'm never going to I can't imagine a day where, there'd be so much demand that I couldn't do handmade. Businesses evolve. I'm going to tell you. And if you're doing every single day, you're working on your business and you're watering the flower, you're growing it, it's going to grow. And you might bust out of the name that you put on it. So I love the fact that you're saying rustic roots, and then the tagline, right? Meaning that if somebody comes there, maybe they see that under your picture, but that's the stuff that you can change and evolve on, right? That's easy. That's creating a new picture and putting up a new picture that has a new tagline. So I love that. So Levy says, transitions, where I help you transition with love. Ooh, I love that. That's yeah, absolutely. And then we just need to figure out, do you mean like life transitions? You know what I mean? And so from the work that you do to market it will be within it. The pictures you use, all those sorts of things. Are you talking about transitioning from like high school to college, transitioning through like you're a business coach, and transitioning through seasons of life, So yes, go big, and then you can really hone in on it and really brand it with your marketing. But it's going to be harder if you pigeonhole yourself and now you're growing and you're evolving and you're bigger than your business name, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully those are some good takeaways from today. All right, my friends. So this is our chat for January the 3rd. Hopefully I've given you some things to think about. I don't want to give you too much, because remember, it's hard when you get confused. It's good to talk about one thing and then to spend the day just kind of thinking about that. Let it stew over, right? Let it simmer on the stove in a pot in your brain, and take out the pen and paper and think about you. And if you haven't copywritten and trademarked your name and all those sorts of stuff, most people who start a business at the beginning, they don't do that right away, right? Because you're still marketing, you're testing, you're in the experimental phase of your business, all right? And you're seeing what's going to stick and what's going to sell. So maybe you need to just kind of explore where you are right now. You're ready to get back into it. You're going to look at a business name and go, wow, did I think too small when I picked that business name for myself? Did I make it too hard? If I had to come up with a business domain name, does it even exist, number one? And would it be really hard for somebody to type in to an actual search box? Those are the things you have to think about, right? And it's not too late right now to go, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put in a request and change my Facebook name. I'm going to do the things. I'm going to change out. I'm going to start from scratch, do a new logo, all those things, right? And yes, you can change your business name. That's a whole other topic. I got to write all these things down. Yeah. Write all these things down. How many people have I helped that said, I can't change my business name? Yes, you can. Do you know that Facebook will allow you? But there's actually a way to change your business name so it won't get denied. Okay. All the good stuff. All right, my friends, I don't want to overwhelm you. I want you to get your day started. I'll see you guys again here tomorrow at 8 a.m. every single day, Eastern Standard Time, sometimes live. Sometimes, like I said, it just depending on my schedule, what we will get into. Lisa Ann says, very appreciative that you've started coaching again. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. I love hanging out with you guys. And like I said, selfishly, in business, can I tell you something? This is the honest to goodness truth. Create something that you wish existed. That's what I did with my business. Started from scratch, quite literally, right? Labor of love, grew organically from roots. I love to paint, and created a paint that did what I wanted it to do. Even before I even thought about putting it out to the masses. I tried and tested it and got it looking the way I want to, right? Before that even went down the road. And I listened to my customers, and I eventually made it available for sale to other people who wanted it to look just like me. And so, yeah, Pretty cool. You just never know where you're going to go, right? But yeah, selfishly, when I thought about this community, I thought I would love to start my day. I'd love to get up earlier, 8 a.m. That's my goal. I'd love to start my day in a positive mindset. I love to interact with other people. I love knowing that I'm not the only one out there, that there's other people that I can come to and I can become friends with and I can chat with, and we can do journey and do life together, do business together, and just downright good people, right? So that's what it's all about here. You're so welcome. All right, friends. Well, I am off. And so I just finished my coffee. Thanks for doing coffee time with me. I'll see you here tomorrow. Now I'm going to go in and pack your happy mail to make sure I keep all my customers happy. And I always get the hard stuff done first. So I'm off to do some packing and shipping. Sharon says, try getting up at 4. Oh my gosh. You probably get a ton done in a day though, Sharon, right? I'm sure you do. You're welcome, Lisa. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Please, please, please take a moment, even when the video ends, come back and comment. And to comment on YouTube under a video, it's weird the way it's set up. It's just a different platform because YouTube runs on ads, right? On AdSense. That's a whole other topic. I teach you YouTube, all the good stuff. So at the top, when you see the video, then there's a bunch of ads. What you actually have to do is scroll down past all the ads, and that's the comment section. That's where everybody lives to. So every day I go in there, make sure that you leave me a comment on something that you'd like to learn, okay? Because remember that whiteboard? I have a whiteboard especially just carved out for this group. And every day when an idea hits me, like, oh, I got to tell them that. Oh, I got to tell them that, right? But I want to know what you want to know, because that way I can make sure that what we're talking about is going to be helpful to you. And I'm going to be honest with you, there are people who are watching this right now that will never comment, right? That they're watching, but they're just not a commenter, not a comment type person. But they're reading your comments, and you're going to leave a comment and you're going to say, Sonia, will you teach me how to do, like Valerie said, about how do you set up a domain name? That's a really good topic to talk about, right? To break it down really, really simple. And that's one thing that I always like to do. I enjoy teaching people. Can I tell you something? That what I thought about what I wanted to do when I grow up, one of the things I always wanted to do was, or one of the things that I thought about doing was being a teacher. I really enjoy that. And growing up, I would sit with my younger sister, and before she even went to school, I would draw out, like, what is this? Is this a triangle? And so I always enjoyed breaking down information that really seems hard into, I don't know, I just get a satisfaction out of helping other people. And so that's what I want this group to be about. And so when you leave a comment, not everybody is going to, but they're going to be thankful that you left the comment, because I'm going to see your comment, and then I am going to do a training on that, okay? And somebody else is going to go, yes, I'm so glad she's talking about that. I'm so glad somebody else asked that, right? Ever been in a room where one person raises their hand and a question, and you've been thinking, and you're like, oh, I'm so glad she asked that, because I don't know, I just didn't want to ask it, but I'm so glad she did. Yes, Deidre. Oh, Deidre, you're not seeing your comments right now? It might be just a glitch, but you should be able to see the comments, and the comments, yes, will come up after the live. So when it ends, you can go down to the bottom, and whether it's live or not, once the video ends, there's always a comment section, but it lives below the video on the top. Thank you, Belinda. I really appreciate that. Thank you. All right, friends, make it great, because like I always say, you can make or break your day. You can make it a good day. You can make it a bad day. The amount of work is going to be the same, right? How you approach it is totally up to you. Angela's talking to Sandy. Oh, I love the fact that you guys are talking to each other. That is what I want to do here. So you guys can connect in the morning, say good morning to each other, all that good stuff, right? All right, here's to another day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.